We'll get started here, so welcome. This will be a flow class, and yeah, we'll just get into the entire body today with the focus on the hips, but really just creating space everywhere. So as always, take what you need throughout the practice. Your practice never has to aesthetically look a certain way, and that's what I kind of like about practicing online, is that you're in your own space, nobody's watching, and you can kind of just let your practice look like what feels good to you. So we can go ahead and get started into a child's pose. And I have a couple yoga blocks, but nothing's really required for practice tonight. Just allow yourself to settle into your breath, settle into your body here. If you want, you can sway side to side. And we'll just start off with 4 deep breaths, and then we'll get into our movement. So as you feel ready, let's take a full breath in, followed by a full breath out. Take a full breath in, followed by a full breath out. Slowing it down a little bit. Take a full breath in, full breath out. Last one here, take a full breath in, full breath out. Come on up into a tabletop when you're ready. Start working through some cat-cows or any other intuitive movement that originates from this table position. You could shift side to side, up and down. If you want to stretch out your wrists, you could flip your palms in different directions. It's really whatever you want to do. Just try to create as much space as you can. Try to move beyond the walls of the mat. Try to move 3-dimensionally. Keep the breath flowing. Just another maybe 15, 20 seconds to move and wiggle in your tabletop. And then when you're ready, let's find our downward facing dog. So tuck the toes under, press your hips back, pedal out the feet. Start to find a little bit of space into your hamstrings, calves, backs of the ankles. Find any movements here. Maybe take the feet wider, maybe rock the hips left to right, bend one knee then the other. And try to be strong in the fingertips here. A lot of times, I'll see a lot of folks with the fingers all bunched up, right? Just putting a lot of pressure into the wrist, but if we spread out the fingers, grip into the mat like we got some tiger claws, we can often be a lot stronger and more coordinated and put a little less pressure into the wrists. Continuing to breathe at a pace that feels good. And then let's find a plank pose, shifting forward, taking your gaze slightly forward in front of the edge of your mat. And then coming all the way onto the belly, feel free to use your knees down to support that. Once you land onto your belly, we'll float up into a locust pose, Shalabhasana. Arms can reach behind you if you want, as we find this hollow body shape. Again, most important thing here is just that we breathe. Don't worry about how high off the mat you are. Just find a relationship with gravity, and then try to take some inhales and exhales. If you want, you can work the interlacing of your fingertips behind your low back. And then feel free to release, and we'll find child's pose. If you want, you can press up into a plank pose. Find a moment of strength, and then drop the knees. Send it back, child's pose. From child's pose, we'll just find a little bit of wavy movements to get further into the spine. So from child's pose, let's come on up into a cat pose. So round the spine as you pull yourself forward. And then from cat pose, just let your hips keep moving forward and down into cobra or upward facing dog. Then maybe lift the gaze a little bit. From here, we reverse it. So round the spine, come back through your cat pose, through tabletop, and then hips fall all the way back. We're eventually in child's pose. I'll cue a couple more rounds, then I'll let us go on our own. So roll forward, pull forward, round the spine as much as you can as you pull through cat pose, and then heavy hips as they fall towards the wrists and the heart lifts up. Then reverse it, so push back, round the spine, come through cat pose in tabletop, Let the hips fall all the way down towards the heels. And then come forward. So round the spine as you come forward. Pull the body through. Let the hips keep moving as they fall down towards the wrists. Heart lifts. So we really never stop moving here, but you can go as slowly as you want. But instead of it being 3 different poses, child's pose, cat pose or tabletop, and then cobra, see if you could just make it all just one continuous pose, right? We're not really trying to pause in any particular position. We're just trying to find rhythm. We're trying to find a little bit of flow, a little bit of a water type element here as we shift from space to space, letting ourselves be malleable, letting ourselves just pay more attention to the space in between the postures than the postures themselves. So just take another maybe 20 seconds or so to take another couple rounds forward and back. Keep the breath flowing as well. Let the breath be the vehicle that takes you from place to place. And when you're ready, we'll find down dog once again. Once you land in downward facing dog, this time look forward and walk your feet to your hands, forward fold at the top of your mat. Relax down for a moment, bend your knees a whole lot if you're feeling like you're far away from the mat. You can even bend your knees enough so that the belly gets close to the thighs here. And then the forehead can relax closer toward the knees or shins. Maybe you nod the head yes, shake the head no. Just find a loose energy here. And then round your spine, rolling up to standing. Reach the hands up to the sky. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, hands come to the heart center. Go through a couple half sun salutations. So inhale, sweep the hands to the sky. Look up as well if you want. Exhale, forward fold. Softness in the knees, lengthen the spine as you fold. Halfway lift, breathe in. Lengthen, shoulder blades together, look slightly forward. And then exhale to fold. Inhale, hands lift all the way to the sky. Lean back if you want. Exhale, hands come to prayer. So we're slowing down the breath here. If you want, you can even close your eyes. Inhale, hands reach up. You can look up, you can lean back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, hands to the sky. Exhale, hands to prayer. Inhale, hands up to the sky. Find some length, try to touch the clouds. Exhale, forward fold. Reach for the ground. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, fold. This time, place your hands on the mat. Bend your knees as much as you need to place the palms firmly down. Left foot steps back. Left knee drops down. We're in a low lunge. So bring the hands up toward your right knee and pulse a few times into this low lunge with the right foot forward. Just work into the depth. And so the left toes behind you could be tucked under, or the top of the left foot could be pressing down into the mat. That's your choice, but either way, try to find a little bit of strength as you try to press the left foot and left shin and left knee down into the mat to create a little more stability, a little more strength into this position. See if as you press the left foot down, as you can kind of accentuate the sensation of the extension of the left hip. Really feel the stretch in the front of the left hip flexors. And then settle into the deepest lunge that you feel comfortable in. So really bend into your right knee. Allow the hips to shift forward and down. Let the heart even lift up like you're finding a little bit of a back bend. And take a breath in. Breath out. Half splits. Shift the hips back, straighten out your right leg. Option for blocks here to help you sit up, right? So try to take your gaze forward beyond the right foot. It's very common for students to round and look towards their belly button, but try to keep the gaze up so that we can maintain a long spine. Maybe you draw some big circles with your right toes to move the ankle joint around in all sorts of directions, couple rounds clockwise, couple rounds counterclockwise. And then let's release out of it. Bend into your right knee. Shift the weight forward. This time, low lunge, hands sweep to the sky. As the hands sweep to the sky, Interlace your fingers, open up the palms, bring palms to back of the head, and then gently press the head into the palms. Open your elbows wide, let your heart shine, lean back as much as you feel comfortable with into a back bend. And again, it's important here, really driving the left leg into the mat to create strength. Let's take a breath in. Breath out, release the hands down. Pyramid pose. Shorten your stance if you need. Straighten your legs and fold over your right leg. I like to take a step kind of forward and out with the left foot so I can have a wider base and I can try to square my hips forward. So this is more of a passive fold, not a ton of effort required, but we're really trying to pull our right hip back and push our left hip a little forward so that we can try our best to square off the hips, and then we can relax into the fold. And squaring the hips is relative, right? It's never expected to have 100% squared hips, but you can think of squaring the hips as more of an action, as a verb, something that's in process, something that's kind of where we're headed toward. Just like straightening out the leg, right? Straightening out the right leg could be absolute, but generally I mean it relatively. You can always keep a little bend in the knee. It's just moving toward straightening, right? And then from here, find a little warrior three. So find a balance. Left foot floats off the mat. Maybe the hands stay on the blocks or on the mat. Maybe the palms pull up to your heart center. Just find a moment of balance. And then bend the left knee. Pull the left knee into your body. Stand all the way up. Stork pose. Once you land into stork pose, just place both feet on the ground. Tadasana. Bounce out the knees if you want to. And then let's inhale, hands up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Place the hands on the mat or on the blocks. Right foot steps back. Right knee drops to the ground. We're in low lunge. Lift the heart up. And again, we're just pulsing a few times into the lunge. Coming out, coming in. Notice what your back leg is doing if the toes are tucked or if the top of the foot is down. Again, neither of one of those are right or wrong. It's just good to have awareness into what our body does. And then start to get a little, as you pulse, a little more active into the right leg. Right shin drives into the mat. Right foot drives into the mat. Lots of strength and stability in the back leg as we find movement into the front knee. Just notice what the hips are telling you. What information is there. And we'll transition half splits. So hands come down, left leg straightens out. You can lengthen out your stance, shift the left hip or left heel further forward if you want. Hands on blocks if you want to create a little more lift and length in the spine. Try to be light in the palms so the hands are just there for support, but we're not putting really much weight at all into the hands. Then if you want, you can find big circles with the left ankle. Keeping the breath flowing, just getting a little deeper into the hamstrings. And then from here, rock it forward. Low lunge again. This time hands sweep to the sky. Fingertips interlace, palms open to the back of the head. Gently press back of the head into the palms, elbows open wide, heart shines through. And let's take a breath in. Breath out, release the arms. Pyramid pose. Straighten your legs, fold over your left leg, shorten and widen your stance as needed. The right heel comes down to the mat. Again, left hip pulls back a little bit, right hip pushes forward a little bit to square off, and then relax into your fold, forehead softens. Take like 2 breaths here. Awesome job. Rock it forward into a balance. When you're ready, warrior 3. Hands can stay down or they float up to your heart. From warrior 3, we stand all the way up, right knee bends, right knee pulls into the body, stork pose. And then we'll just go ahead and release to standing in Tadasana. Shake out the legs a little bit. And we'll go through that same thing one more time with a little bit more pace, just getting further into our legs. So inhale, hands reach up, lean back if you want, look to the sky. Exhale to forward fold. Place the hands down on the mat or the blocks. Left foot steps behind you. Left knee drops down. Actively press down through your left leg. Hands can come up to your right knee. This time we'll go ahead and just pause. We'll skip the pulses and we'll just take 1 breath in. 1 breath out. Nice job. Hands to the blocks or to the mat, half splits. Pull the hips back, fold over your right leg. This time, option to go ahead and crawl the blocks or your hands off the right side of your mat to the outside of your right leg, getting a little bit deeper into the outside of your right hamstrings, kind of IT band, outer hip. Allow yourself to breathe, kind of like a little bit of a twist and side body stretch in the upper body as well. Let's take a full breath in, full breath out. Come back through center. Bend into your right knee. One more low lunge, this time hands to the sky. Open up the palms, interlace the fingers, palms to back of the head. Gently press the head into the palms like you're pressing the head into a car seat. Open the elbows, shine the heart, lean back, take a breath in. Breath out, release. Hands to the mat or blocks, pyramid pose, fold over your right leg. Find a little bit of a deeper stretch and try to find that squaring of the hips as the right hip pushes forward. Take one more inhale, maybe a halfway lift as you breathe in. Exhale, forward fold, relax. Warrior 3. Shift forward, float the left leg. Behind you, float the palms if you want to the heart. And then stand all the way up, left knee to the body, stork pose. Into Tadasana, left foot onto the mat. Shake it out if you want. And then we'll just do that on the other side to round it out. So hands to the sky, breathe in. Forward fold, breathe out. Hands ground down, right foot steps back, right knee drops. Find your low lunge, sink into your depth as you bring the palms up towards your left knee. We're just here for one breath in, one breath out. Hands down, half splits, hips push back, lengthen out your stance a little if you want to, and then option to crawl the hands or blocks over off the left side of your mat to just work into your outer hamstrings a little bit more. It's so common in yoga to really only stretch the back of the hamstrings, which is really just one part of the hamstrings, which is a group of muscles that run along the back of our leg, but also the inside of our leg, inside of our thigh, and outside of our thigh. Good. Let's close it off. Come back through center. Bend into our left knee. Low lunge, one more time. This time hands to the sky, interlace your fingers, open the palms, palms to back of the head. Back of the head gently presses into palms. Bend into your left knee, lean back if you want. Take an inhale. Exhale, release, hands come down. Pyramid pose, fold over your left leg. Shorten your stance if you want. Try to square the hips. Find a fold. Let's take an inhale, option to halfway lift as you breathe in. Come onto fingertips. And then exhale, relax into your fold. Warrior 3, shift it forward, float the right foot, option to float the hands as well. And then right knee pulls all the way into the body, stork pose. And then we'll release to Tadasana, to standing. All right, nice job. Bounce out the knees if you want, and we'll just go through a few full sun salutation A rotations here, just to get the body moving, to get us moving with our breath, and to continue to create a little bit more energy, space, and warmth in the body. So let's use our inhale to reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, spine gets long as we look forward. Exhale, hands to the mat, plank pose, step back. From plank, this first round, first drop your knees to the mat. Then the challenge here is to try to keep the hips elevated off the mat as we bend the elbows. So knees, chest, and chin position. Ashtanga Namaskara. We try to keep the hips lifted like an inchworm. And then pull yourself forward, up dog or cobra. So release the tops of the feet down. For up dog, press down through the legs, through the tops of the feet. So maybe even the knees lift. We're active in the legs all the way up through the arms, through the spine. Downward facing dog is where we'll meet. Tuck the toes under, press the hips back. We'll go through 2 or 3 more rounds of our sun salutation A. So look forward, rise to the toes, bend the knees, and then walk or hop to the top of your mat. Inhale, create a long spine, look forward, shoulder blades pinned together. And then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, hands up to the sky. Exhale, hands to prayer position. Inhale, hands up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen your spine, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat, plank pose, step back. From plank pose, this time you could find another knees, chest, chin, or you could find a chaturanga, low plank, low push-up position, into your upward facing dog or cobra, into your downward facing dog as you shift back. From down dog, we'll look forward, rise to the toes, bend the knees, walk or take a hop to the top of your mat, forward fold. Inhale, find length, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, hands up to the sky. Exhale, hands to prayer. Get my cat out of the way before he messes up the screen. All right, let's use our inhale to reach the hands up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat, plank pose. Go through your vinyasa here. Just try to control it, whatever it looks like. So low plank, bend the elbows, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, pull your way through. Downward facing dog, shift all the way back. Let's go through one more. All right, so look forward, rise to the toes, bend the knees. Just feel the energy of these movements. And then walk or hop, top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, hands to the sky. Exhale, hands to prayer, heart center. Inhale, hands to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat, plank pose. And then take your time as you transition, plank to low plank. Option to use your knees down, just control the movements. Upward facing dog, pull your way through, engage through the legs. Downward facing dog as we return. All right, nice job. I'm sure you're feeling pretty warm. I know I am. Let's go ahead and look back at the feet and crawl the hands back to the feet into a forward fold at the back of the mat. Once you get here, bring your feet really wide. So bring both feet like a foot off of the edge of your mat, all the way heel toeing into a wide-legged forward fold. And then relax into the fold. If you want, you can find a wide-legged down dog by crawling the arms forward and sinking the heart towards the earth. Or you could crawl the hands further underneath your legs to stretch deeper into the hamstrings. Or you could rock to the left, to the right. And there's a lot of different options. You could bend one knee and then bend the other knee. Right? Just get a little animalistic from this wide-legged stance with the hands reaching down. As usual, not really too worried about it, what it looks like, just on the exploration of different sensations in the body. From here, bring the feet back into center, and then feet can stay kind of wider than normal, so feet are towards the edge of the mat, and then sink down into a malasana squat. All right, so malasana squat, you can always use a block underneath your hips, or you can always just be a little more upright if your hips just aren't moving that low today. But just let yourself rock back and forth when you get into malasana. Again, regardless of if a block is under your hips, if you're sitting on a block or not, this is similar either way. We're rocking back and forth, just working into a little bit of deeper space in the hips. And then reach the hands down, straighten the legs, forward fold. Shake out the knees, rock side to side. We'll just do that 3 more times. So drop the hips low, malasana squat. Try to lift the heart high into your malasana. Try to keep as long of a spine as you can. All right, it's very common to round the spine here. See if we can find a long spine, maybe look forward. And then hands down, straighten the legs, forward fold. And we have 2 more. So sink the hips low, malasana squat. Heart lifts up, find a long spine. And then hands down, forward fold. Let that go. If you wanted to do this with your breath, you could inhale, drop the hips, malasana squat, lift the heart. Exhale, forward fold. Why don't we do it one more just like that? So inhale, drop the hips, lift the heart, malasana squat. Exhale, hands down, forward fold. Straighten the legs, walk forward into down dog. Once you walk into down dog, walk forward into a forward fold. So walk all the way top of the mat, forward fold. And then round yourself as you roll up to standing. Reach the hands up to the sky. Deep breath in. Hands to heart center as you breathe out. All right. From here, we're going to kind of find our core portion of the class over the next 15 minutes as we kind of bring the energy up and just see what kind of space and strength we can build through some of these new postures. So let's stand on the right foot, left knee lifts into the body for stork pose. From this position, right foot stands firm on the ground, and we'll send the left leg back, warrior 3. From warrior 3, left foot slowly steps back, bend the right knee, crescent lunge. Hands reach up to the sky. Let's take an inhale. Exhale, hands come to the heart. Lean forward. Pull the left knee into the body for stork pose. And then from here, let's take another step back, warrior two. All right, so this time we kind of have to open the hips a little bit as we step back, but we land in warrior two eventually. All right, arms can open once you get here. Legs are strong, shoulders relax. If you want to engage a little more through the inner line of your legs into the hamstrings, into the hips, you can imagine you're squeezing the mat together with your feet. So still keep a strong bend into your right knee, but imagine you could squeeze the mat together. And that'll just really fire up all those inner muscles in the legs. It's very good for the body. We'll just let ourselves breathe here for another 5, 4, 3, great job, 2, on 1, reverse your warrior, straighten your legs as the right hand reaches up and back. And then find your side angle posture. So shift forward, right elbow to right knee, left arm reaches overhead, and then just go through a few big shoulder loops with the left arm. Try to imagine the movements were originating from the actual shoulder joint. Right? So where the upper arm bone meets the shoulder blade is where the movements are originating from. Just big rotations. It doesn't have to be organized. It doesn't have to be systematic. Just let the shoulder joint rotate as the arm moves around. And then reverse again. All right, straighten your legs as you reach up and back as you reverse. Triangle pose is where we're headed. So reach down into triangle pose. Option to grab a block for under your right hand, or to float the right hand, or to place your right hand on your leg. And then left hand to the sky. If you want, you can look up towards your left hand. And just let yourself breathe here. Find the breath for another 5, 4, 3, nice job, 2. On 1, warrior two. Return as we bend into the right knee. Hands come to prayer in front of the heart. Look forward towards your right foot or out in front of you, and then shift forward. We're heading to stork pose, left knee into the body. So if you want, you can kind of close off the stance into more of a crescent lunge, and the left knee eventually pulls all the way into the body, stork pose. And then we'll place the left foot down onto the mat. All right, so we'll switch sides. And be patient with yourself here, right? Anytime we work with balance, it's implied that we're in an unbalanced place, right? That's why they're balancing poses, is because we intentionally put ourselves out of balance. So whenever we lose balance, that's totally okay, because that's kind of just part of the journey, is to find balance, lose balance, come back into balance, and then just see what that experience does. See if we can be present as we do that. I find balance is really easy to be present because we kind of have to in order to stay lifted. All right, we're on the left foot. The right knee is lifted into the body, and then the right foot slowly finds warrior three as it extends behind us. Bend the left knee, and then step the right foot back. We're in crescent lunge, hands to the sky. Let's take a full breath in. As you exhale, hands pull down to the heart. Lean forward, right knee journeys into the body, stork pose once again. And then from here, we're stepping back to warrior two. So you might have to open the hips a little bit. As you step back, left knee bends, right foot steps back. You can always adjust your stance once you land in warrior two. It's not like wherever your foot lands, you're stuck there, right? Let it be a fluid place. Warrior two, if you want, you can rock forward and back. You can find a little bit of gentle, fluid energy here. Or if you want, you can find that strength by squeezing the mat together. Imagine you could try to squeeze right foot to left foot right in the middle, right below your hips without the feet actually moving. And we'll breathe here for 5, 4, 3, 2. Now on 1, let's reverse. Straighten out your legs. Left hand reaches to the sky. Right hand can reach to the right leg. Side angle is where we're headed. Reach forward. Left elbow to left knee. Right arm sweeps overhead. And just take this into your big shoulder rotations in the right arm. Just big sweeping motions. Again, they can look like whatever the heck you want. My only invitation is that imagine these movements are not coming from the elbow or the wrist or anything. They're coming from the deep within the shoulder joint. Really feeling the upper arm bone find rotation. The humerus, if you want to get scientific. And then from here, let's reverse out of it. Straighten your legs, left hand to the sky, reach back. Triangle pose. All right, so try to keep the side bodies long, try to keep your spine long. Left hand can land on your leg to a block, or it can float. We'll be here, another 5, 4, 3, keep on breathing, last 2. On one, warrior two, bend into the left knee, rise back up. Hands pull to the heart to bring our center of gravity back to us. And then we'll shift forward. Stork pose is where we're headed. So again, you can close off your lunge if you want as you pull right knee into the body. And then we'll release the right foot onto the mat. All right, so we'll do that another couple times. We'll add in some shapes here and there, but we'll go a little bit more fluidity, a little bit more pace. First round is always the slowest as we're just kind of trying to figure out these shapes and how we're feeling today. So stand on your right foot, left knee lifts. From here, take a slow step back, crescent lunge. Try to wait until the last second to drop your left toes, meaning try to bend your right knee, get low, and then drop the left toes, and we're in crescent lunge. So hands lift to the sky, breathe in. Hands pull to the heart center, breathe out. Lean forward, left knee pulls into the body, stork pose. And then step back to warrior two. So feel the hips rotate open as the left foot steps back. Adjust your stance as you need. And we'll just be here for one inhale, one exhale. Inhale, reverse your warrior, straighten your legs if you want. Exhale, side angle, rotate forward. Elbow to knee if you want. This time find a half bind, so wrap the left arm behind your low back. So left hand kind of reaches toward the right hip crease, and then we look up and we feel as if we could touch the sky with not only our left rib cage, but imagine the right rib cage was rotating forward and up to the sky as we kind of twist open. Let's take one breath in, one breath out. Release the bind and reverse again. Straighten out your legs, prepare for triangle pose, and then find triangle pose. All right, so right hand down, left hand up. Find your strength here, but also try to find your ease and let that come through the breath. We'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, on one, warrior two, hands to prayer. From here, stork pose. Left knee pulls into the body as we stand up. Let it be wobbly if it's wobbly, and then release down to Tadasana. All right, right into the next side. So left foot down, right knee lifts. Take a slow step back into crescent lunge. Really try to drag it out. Be with the process. Hands lift to the sky once you get there. Take a breath in. Exhale, hands pull to prayer. Lean forward. Right knee pulls into the body, stork pose. From here, right foot steps all the way behind you. Open the hips. Warrior two is where we're headed. From warrior two, let's just pause for one breath in. One breath out. Reverse your warrior up and back. Straighten out your legs if you want. And then come forward, side angle. Left elbow to knee, right arm sweeps overhead, and then right arm wraps behind the low back towards the left hip crease. We're in a half bind. Try to rotate to the sky. Maybe you look up. Maybe you imagine your left rib cage could rotate all the way from under you up to the sky. Right? It's just a motion. It's not saying we need to be fully twisted and revolved. It's just saying we're finding a little bit more upward, expansive energy. Take one more breath in. One more breath out. Nice job. Release and reverse. Left hand to the sky behind you. Triangle pose. All right, find your triangle, find your Trikonasana, and we'll be here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, on one, warrior two, hands to prayer. Lean forward, right knee pulls into the body, stork pose, and then we'll release to Tadasana. All right, we'll go through a similar flow, but we're just going to switch it up a little bit. We'll add some things, we'll subtract some things now that we're feeling a little bit more open, at least I assume. If you have blocks, the blocks being around the front corners of your mat will be helpful because half moon is going to be one of the postures in the next flow. So stand on the right foot, left knee lifts, left foot steps all the way back. Really make it a slow journey to get there, crescent lunge. Hands to the sky, breathe in. Hands to prayer, breathe out. Lean forward, left knee to the body, stork pose, stand all the way up. And then step the left foot back, warrior two, hips open as we step back. From warrior two, let's bring the palms to heart center, Skandasana lunge, shift all the way back. As you bend into your left knee, hips go as low as you want. So your Skandasana could be upright more so. It could be all the way down, right? It's really just wherever you're at today. And from Skandasana, we find balancing half moon. So shift it forward. You can use your hands to help crawl you forward if you want. We're finding half moon on the right foot. Left leg lifts, right hand, or excuse me, left foot lifts, left hand lifts up to the sky. All right. From this half moon, the transition is to stork pose. So maybe you bend the left knee, Pull the left knee into your body as you try to stand up. There's no rush here, so take it slow. You can always come out, come in. From stork pose, we'll release down to standing. Shake out the knees a little bit, getting really strong in the legs and hips today. All right, stand on your left foot, right knee to the chest. Slowly step back, crescent lunge. Once the right toes land, inhale, hands up. Exhale, hands to prayer, lean forward. Right knee pulls into the body, stork pose. Right foot steps back, warrior two. As you land in warrior two, let's take a breath in and out. Skandasana lunge, hands to heart center as we shift all the way to the back of the mat into the right knee. And then take it forward. Again, you can use your hands or not as you head into half moon. Left foot and left hand are down. Right hand and right foot are to the sky. Open hips, open heart, open breath. And then bend the left knee, pull it into your body. We're standing all the way up. It doesn't need to be perfect. Stork pose, right knee into the chest. And then right foot onto the ground. Shake it out a little bit. All right, I feel like the first round with half moon is always just trying to figure it out and trying to get our bearings. So let's try that another 1 or 2 rounds through that same exact flow. Nothing will change. Let's just see what's happening. In fact, let's just get right into it. So stand on the right foot, left knee lifts, step back, crescent lunge. Might increase the pace a little bit. Inhale, hands to the sky. Exhale, hands to prayer, lean forward. Left knee pulls into the body, stork pose. And then left foot steps all the way behind you, warrior two. From warrior two, hands to prayer, skandasana lunge. Shift all the way back, hips to the back of the mat. And then pull yourself forward, half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. Find some lift, and then from your Ardha Chandrasana, we find stork pose. Close it off, left knee into the body. And then left foot onto the mat. Shake it out a little bit. Maybe second round felt slightly more available. Maybe not, that's okay too. Right knee into the body, stork, and then right foot steps all the way back, crescent lunge. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, hands to prayer, lean forward. Right knee pulls into the body, stork pose. And then right foot steps all the way back, warrior two position. Skandasana, hands to prayer, shift all the way back. You can always use the hands down as well if you want. Half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. Left hand reaches perhaps to the block as you lift up. And then stork pose. Close it off, right knee into the body. Into Tadasana, releasing both feet down. Shake it out. All right, we'll do one more round of that. The nice thing is it's a pretty quick flow, right, once we have the steps down. So we'll just do one more round. It'll only take another minute or two. All right, so last one. Stand on the right foot, left knee lifts, stork pose. And then step back, crescent lunge. Use your next inhale, hands up. Exhale, hands to prayer, lean forward. Left knee journeys into the body, stork. And then left foot steps back, warrior two. Skandasana lunge, shift all the way back. To the back of your mat, hips get low, and then shift forward, slide forward, half moon. Find lots of lift. And then left knee pulls into the body, stork pose. And then we'll release down to standing. All right. Last one, we made it. Left foot down, right knee lifts. Then take a slow step all the way back. Crescent lunge. Hands to the sky, breathe in. Hands to prayer, breathe out, lean forward. Right knee into the body, stork pose. And then step back, warrior two. From warrior two, rock all the way back. Skandasana lunge. And then shift forward, half moon when you're ready to do so. Find your balance. Stork pose, Close it off, right knee pulls into the body. And then release down to standing. Whew, good job with that. Take a little moment in Tadasana. Wiggle the body around, swing anything around or shake anything out that wants to be shaken out. Grab a sip of water if you want to. And then from here, let's just go through a vinyasa. It's been a while since we've done that. So when you're ready, top of the mat, let's use an inhale to reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, hands to the floor, plank pose. Through low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Once you get to down dog, find either child's pose or a neutral upright seated position just to take a few breaths in somewhere that feels like home, right? Somewhere that feels familiar, somewhere that feels more effortless. So child's pose or just a comfortable seat. You could also take a couple sips of water. Take a few nice big breaths. Just notice the energy you have moving through you. Notice the energy in the legs and the hips. Close the eyes if you want to. And then from here, we'll start to work a little bit deeper into the hips and just find some more passive stretching, right? After a lot of that active balancing energy. So let's go ahead and make our way into a 90-90 position with our right leg in front, right? This is commonly called deer pose in yoga, right? Similar to pigeon pose, except both knees are bent. We find a 90-degree angle kind of at our front leg, between the front and back thighs, as well as with the back leg. So 3 different 90-degree angles. There might be a 4th one somewhere, but I'm seeing 3. And then from here, before we fold forward, right, try to resist that, just try to sit up. And then let's rock the weight back. So place the hands out behind your hips, lean back a little bit. Right, so you'll probably feel more of a stretch into your back leg. That's the internal hip rotation into the back leg, the left hip. And then from here, if you want to, you can find some rotating in the left hip, so you can kind of peel up, drop down, and you find this movement by lifting the left knee up and then putting the left knee down. And even though the left knee is moving up and down, the movement originates from the hip joint. So it's really good for the hip, really healthy for the hip joint, just to be able to rotate the hip joint through its full range of motion. Even if it feels a little sticky, if it feels a little off, that's okay. Just slow it down, move within the range that feels safe and comfortable for you. And then shift forward. When you're ready, you can let that go and fold over your front leg. And this is where we'll just kind of settle into more of a static stretch. So we'll kind of just relax as we fold. You can fold onto a block or onto a prop. Just letting this be more of a passive, comfortable fold as you work into the outer right hip. Adjust your stance however you need, right? This will feel and look a little bit different for everybody. Otherwise, just settle in. We'll have about a minute here just to breathe. Just taking a few more breaths here. Notice what the body's experiencing. Notice if you feel like you're clenching or holding on at all, or if you're breathing, or if you're holding the breath. Just notice where you're at. And then we'll start to release, and we'll switch sides. So take your time. Come into that 90-90 position on the second side. So left leg comes around in front. Right leg behind. Legs are somewhat in 90-degree angles, right? It doesn't have to be exact. That's just a good starting foundation. Then we'll start by rocking the weight back. Right? So work into the back leg, the back hip, that internal hip rotation as the knee is on the ground. And as we kind of shift paces in the practice, a lot of those balances require us to be a little contracted, to find control in the muscles, add a little bit of activation in the legs. These positions, we actually want to be quite relaxed, right? Unless you're specifically engaging a muscle for a reason, let the body soften and let the breath especially slow down, right? It's hard for our bodies to maintain benefits of these more passive stretching if we're holding our breath, or if we're clenching, or if we're stressed out, if we're not letting ourselves relax. Our nervous system actually doesn't allow our muscles to move into deeper elasticity over time. So really just letting the body relax, letting ourselves breathe. And if you want to, you can find those hip rotations, lifting the right knee up and then rotating the right knee back down. And again, the movement, we can see it with the knee moving up and down, but just being aware that it's originating from deep within the hip joint is how we're finding these movements. And just rotating up and down a few times. Nice and easy. You can go slow if you want. You don't have to find your full range if you want. Even a tiny bit of movement can go a long way for a strong joint like the hip joint. Then we can go ahead and release, and we'll just rock it forward and fold over our front leg. So finding this forward fold, getting into the outer left hip, and just letting ourselves breathe and soften into the stretch. And again, we'll have about a minute or so here, just to soften, to observe, to notice. And we'll just have a few more breaths on the second side here. And when you feel ready, you're welcome to release. Then from here, we'll just lay down onto our backs. As we lay down, prepare for bridge pose. We'll do 2 rounds of bridge pose, and those will be the last active things we do in the class. So feet come in nice and close to the hips. Feet can be hips width distance or wider. If your feet are wider than hips distance, just allow your toes to follow in that angle, right? So allow the toes to continue to point in whatever direction that the knees and shins are facing. And then from there, go ahead and rise on up. So press into the feet, lift the hips as if you were trying to touch the sky with your pointy hip bones. Engage through the glutes, engage through the hamstrings. Allow yourself to breathe here. And let's try to find steadiness and ease for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1. Slowly release down. See if you can go vertebrae by vertebrae. First the upper back lowers, then the mid back, then the lower back, then the pelvis lowers. So really step by step. Take like 2 breaths in between, and then we'll find 1 more. And then rise on up. Bridge pose is where we're headed. Hips to the sky. Yeah, there's an optional bind of the fingertips behind your low back if you want to find more of a back bend. But the amount of back bend isn't really important to me. It's more so just the strength component of building stability in the hamstrings, glutes, and back. And again, we'll try to breathe here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1. Slowly again, first the upper back rolls down, then the mid back, then the lower back, then the pelvis. Bring feet together, knees open up wide, Supta Baddha Konasana. Palms can either rest on your pointy hip bones for grounding, or maybe it feels nice to reach the arms overhead with the elbows bent, stretch out the shoulders. Just take about 3 to 5 breaths here. Hips opening, breathing into the space. From here, feet come flat onto the mat, and then bring the feet wide on your mat, about mat's width distance apart, so that the knees can knock together right in the middle. And then you can pause here if you want, or you can kind of rotate the hips a little by dipping one knee into the middle, dipping the other knee into the middle, just finding some easy hip rotations. Or again, you could just stay with the knees knocking together into the middle. And then from here, feel free to extend both of your legs long. We'll go right into our Shavasana, our final resting position. So bring your body into any position that feels effortless, whether it's on your back, your side, your belly, or anything else. Take a moment to scan the physical body. Notice anywhere that remains engaged, anywhere that is contracted or squeezing in or feels a little bit of tension, and just kindly ask any of those areas of the body to relax. Kindly ask the mind to relax. Ask the breath to continue to relax and slow down to a resting pace. We'll have a few minutes here, and the only thing that we need to do in Shavasana, your only obligation here is to continue breathing, and your body will do that for you. So really the true intention becomes rest. To simply be here with the body, with the mind, being okay with where the mind goes, and being compassionate towards the body by giving it a chance to simply exist with nothing else being asked of ourselves. So allow yourself here to find rest. Shavasana. Let's take a full breath in, followed by a full breath all the way out. And one more like that. Take a full breath in, full breath all the way out. Take a full body stretch, reaching the arms overhead. Maybe bend the knees, place the feet down. And allow yourself to just be in a space of transition. And when you're ready, you can come up to a seated position. And if you're still with me, I appreciate you sharing your energy, for coming to practice, for giving back to yourself, for finding some connection. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I hope to practice with you soon, and I hope you have a great day. Peace.